Hey everyone, it's Kellen Brauer from RacerX back again with another race examination video from Seattle. Gonna review some stuff here from Seattle at round 11 before we go into Glendale this weekend. And hey, remember Kevin Moranz grabbing the whole shot back a couple weeks ago on a stock KTM 450. And even though Chase Sexton quickly went to the lead on him in the second corner, Moranz fought back and actually stole the lead away from him. Pretty cool little story right there. But of course, as we remember, it all ended when Moranz went off the track right here. And a couple things to note here with Moranz. So first of all, I wanted to go back real quick and just highlight something. So as he jumps into this corner right here, what he said actually ended up happening is he landed in this pocket right here, and that's what shot him to the left. He said he was totally comfortable and in control in the race lead, but it was that little pocket that just threw him up to the left. Up and over the berm he goes. Unfortunate moment because, I mean, to grab the whole shot and lead there for a little bit, he was obviously stoked about that. And he also got a $5,000 bonus from his sponsor who gives out bonuses for getting whole shots like that. So pretty cool little story, even though Moranz tossed it away right there. And he also said that he was freaking out in this moment trying to get it off the tough block, and he didn't know why it was stuck the way that it was, but you could see the bike just like ripping apart that tough block. In the end, all good. How about Eli Tomac? I wanted to talk about this right here because Eli Tomac was rolling into this rhythm section, and then you'd go over table, triple, single, which is an offline to everybody that was kind of going on, off, and then doing everything else. So the reason why this is because nobody was rolling into this rhythm section. This is off the start of the 450 main event, so this is about as good as this rhythm lane was all evening long, but nobody was rolling into this section. So he ended up hitting a section that didn't have any ruts, and you can see later on, like right here, he's jumping over that rutted part of the racetrack by triple singling into the corner. So he was trying to do everything he could to avoid ruts, and that's why he ended up taking that line where he was rolling in. Just really cool creative stuff by Eli Tomac right there. And then, of course, Chase Sexton tossing away the race lead halfway through the main event, front end tuck, and then goes up and over the bars right there. Interesting little crash for sure, but if we actually go back and kind of break this down a little bit further, if we look at it in slow motion, what you can see is as he comes across the start straight, he's going to actually kind of lose the front end a little bit right there. He's going to readjust his body positioning, so he kind of stands it back up going into the corner. But again, leans it right back into the corner the same way, and he's actually missed the entry to this rut that he's going for right down here in the bottom of the screen. So he's trying to arch back into the corner. The front end just grabs it and goes right up and over the bars like that. I mean, nothing really you could do if you're Chase Sexton. You just basically caught out by a rough situation, and in the end, he went down again. So unfortunate there, and, you know, I guess all in the end, he was able to get back up and rebound, but Eli Tomac pretty much cruised from here. And hey, Eli Tomac also blitzing the whoops. This is pretty cool. Check this out. I want to remind everybody that this video is presented by onX Off-Road. Know where to go with the #1 off-road GPS app. Access 500,000 plus miles of trails and roads, open dates, and public lands. Use the code RACERX, that's RACERX, for 20% off when you download the onX app today. Moving to the 250 class, and we'll start off by talking about Jett Lawrence and Cameron McAdoo getting into it in their heat race right here. And this is a wild moment. A lot of different opinions about whether this was a fair move by McAdoo jumping down the left side or not. And then Jett Lawrence obviously unhappy about it. But if we actually roll it back to the beginning of this, so what ends up happening right here is as they come into this corner, so Lawrence is passing McAdoo, and he's going to push a little bit wide into this corner right here. So McAdoo is trying to cut back up underneath, and that's exactly what he does. He's going to triple alongside Lawrence. And while it did seem that, yes, he went for a gap that maybe wasn't there, what you can also see is that when you get to this point, I mean, there's still a lot of track over here that's to the left that McAdoo was trying to get to, and Lawrence was slowly coming over to him. So in the end, more or less a racing incident. Obviously, Lawrence wasn't happy about it. And another thing that I thought was kind of crazy about this is Lawrence actually got kind of like ripped up on the back of him right here. He's got his pants ripped. He's got his lower jersey ripped. Like, it was a pretty decent little crash, which is, of course, why he's mad, because it's a heat race. Why are these guys getting into it that way? But in the end, both were okay and continued on, and Lawrence actually repassed McAdoo in this heat race. Off the main event start, though, another weird thing happened that not many people talked about, and it's actually Pierce Brown going down as he got into the side of Carson Mumford. And he said that what ended up happening is Mumford kind of slid through the first corner, and when he stood it back up right there, you can see Mumford just starting to stand it back up, and then there's contact made right there. So his elbow kind of clips Brown's bar as they roll into this section, and then Brown just kind of high sides and goes down. So Brown had a decent start and actually had a great main event after this, but unfortunately that early contact really cost him. Another thing that was totally forgot about with this race, I feel like, was how good some of the battles were with Stilez Robertson leading this. And here's another situation. So look, this is Robertson. He's going to come across and defend this line from Lawrence trying to cut back up underneath. This is the same thing that happened with McAdoo in the heat race. So Robertson pushes wide, Lawrence cuts back up underneath. Now Lawrence doesn't triple in right here, but that's exactly what McAdoo was trying to do in the heat race, which is why McAdoo felt he was in the right, even though Lawrence felt it was a little bit egregious. And then a little bit after this, As they come into the next corner right here, Robertson's going to get it all wrong in the whoops, go down pretty hard right here and actually land on his shoulder, get kind of rolled over by the bike, and it's a little bit worrying that maybe he dislocated his shoulder or something like that. Basically what happens right here, lands right there, gets a little bit off balance, and then the front tire is going to go over this whoop and then dig in right there. So it's going to kind of catapult him back across to the side. And then at that point, just doesn't get the arms or the hands out there fast enough. Kind of lands with the right arm extended as well, which is always a telltale sign that you're going to maybe dislocate your shoulder. So rough crash there for Robertson. But he did actually say after the race that he would be good to go and trying to give it a run this weekend in Glendale. So hopefully we'll see the 40 machine back out there and racing. Late in the race, RJ Hampshire and Cameron McAdoo are going at it for second place. Lap traffic trying to get out of the way here. And Hampshire is going to make a pretty aggressive little pass down the inside of McAdoo as the white flag comes out. And what Hampshire says in this situation is he thought this was actually the last lap right here. So he thinks this is coming into the last corner, which is why he cuts across as hard as he does and goes for this block pass, and actually said that after the race, he apologized to McAdoo because he felt it was maybe a little bit too much for 2 laps to go. And when he went over the finish line jump and saw it was the white flag, he's like, oh boy, this could be bad for me. Jett Lawrence takes the win, and I thought this was a little bit weird. It looks like he kind of does like a thumbs down moment, and went back and reviewed the tape, reviewed some photos, and yes, he was giving himself a thumbs down for winning the main event. So Jett Lawrence not happy, I guess, that he won the main event, even shakes his head after that, rips 3 tear-offs after the race is over, so he's clearly frustrated about something, but either way, still rolled through, won this main event, and has all the momentum rolling into Glendale this weekend as he tries to win his first ever Triple Crown.